What's up, YouTube? Got a brand new toy I want to talk to you about. This is the Steiner P4Xi 1x4 low power variable optic. All right. So I'm going to basically discuss some of the features of it and what I think and why I decided to go with this one. So first and foremost, it's going to be cost. I got this right at $500, including this worn mount that came with it, which I think those are probably around 60 to 70 bucks on average. But I got that thrown in there as a package deal for Black Friday. But you can find these pretty consistently for right around 550 bucks without the mount. This particular model does come with the throw lever on it. For starters, we're going to talk about the glass. The glass clarity on this thing is absolutely outstanding. It is really, really good glass. It's going to be a lot better than some of the lower grade. I say lower grade because they're not. I'm not saying that they're bad scopes, but like your primary arms, the Vortex Strike Eagle, some of those ones are just a little bit lower tier of glass quality than this one here. Now this is a true 1X. The reason why a 1X is so important for those of y'all who don't know is because whenever you're shooting two eyes open, if it's off or it's magnified just a little bit, when you're trying to focus on your target, whenever you're bringing it up on target, it's going to throw you off a little bit. Both of your eyes have to be focused equally on the same object. So it's going to throw it off if it's not a true 1X. But that's a whole nother discussion. Edge to edge clarity on this thing is fantastic. I mean, it's nice and crisp right up to the eye ring. Eye box is pretty forgiving. I really like that, especially if you're shooting around tight corners, that kind of thing. Really helps with that. Now this is a 1 to 4. It doesn't have quite the range that like the Vortex Razor, like a 1 to 6 and 1 to 8, or not Vortex, whatever. But doesn't have quite the range of a 1 to 8 or a 1 to 6. However, because it's so crystal clear, it will certainly do the job right up to about 300-400 yards. Now, this one, I'm pretty much going to be direct comparing it to a Vortex Viper PST, because both this one and the Vortex Viper PST 1 to 6 they're going to cost you right in that $500 to $600 range. And as far as scopes go, I would say about 400 bucks and below is a tier of scopes where you get into the primary arms gold line and stuff like that. And then about 700 to 800 and up is where you start getting into the Trigicon and your Vortex Razor and stuff like that. Some of the really higher end scopes. So this one, as well as the Viper, kind of fall in that no man's land. So these are really the only two, as far as I can tell, they're really the only two options at that price level. And that's kind of the top end of my budget on what I was willing to spend. So I'm going to be comparing pretty much this one to that one. Now I did get a chance to put this next to the Vortex and look at them side by side. So ultimately I went with this one, and I'll explain why. Number one being the daylight bright reticle. The reticle on this thing, when they say it's daylight bright, that is no bullshit. I mean, it is like a red dot. It works just as well. I thought that it was a little bit brighter than the Vortex. That said, the Vortex itself is also daylight bright, make no mistake about it. However, I thought this one seemed to carry a little bit more punch when it's has a really sunny backlit object. It doesn't wash out quite as much. That was my opinion on it, but the Vortex was very close. Now, another thing too, I really thought that the clarity on this one was just a shade better. And we're talking almost negligible differences here, guys. However, I thought that it was just, I thought I saw maybe a little bit of fisheye in the Vortex. I don't know, maybe it's just me, I don't know. But those two reasons are why I went with this one over the Vortex. Now, the Vortex, if you're shooting 500 yards, you know, those really long distances quite often, probably gonna wanna swing in that direction. But for my purposes, most of my shooting is going to be up close and occasional 300-400 yard shots. So that's why I decided to go with this one, because that's the range that I'm going to be using in. That's what it's designated for. So next, if I didn't discuss it, eye box on here is very forgiving. The Vortex eye box is forgiving as well, but I thought the Vortex eye box was just a little tighter. You know, I mean, your head kind of has to be right on that. So I would have to give it to this one in terms of eye box. Eye relief is pretty generous. I anticipated a little bit more. I think the Viper has a little bit better as far as distance that your eye has to be to the scope. Not to get all scientific and shit, I've read articles on exit pupil, all that kind of shit, but I just know where I like to sit my head on the rifle. This one seemed to work just fine, but the Vortex seemed to work a little bit better in that regard. As far as why I chose this, obviously you're not going to beat a deal like that. $500 for everything that you need that's plastered right on there it was just one of those deals that's like, all right, I got to buy this. So that's why that's one of the reasons why I decided to go with it. But if you are looking to find this scope at that relative price range, my suggestion would be go to gun.deals.com. Maybe check that out, because anytime you do a search on that, it's going to give you the lowest absolute price out there at the time. And it's going to list them in descending order. So you're probably not going to find these for right around $550, and that may come with or without a mount. It just kind of depends who you're ordering it from. So anyway, durability wise, I mean, I would imagine it's done good. I haven't beat the shit out of it. I mean, I just dropped $500 on this fucking thing. So I don't plan on abusing it like I do some of my red dots. You know, but from what I understand and all the research that I did, these things hold up incredibly well. They meet all the standards as far as being milled from one solid piece of aluminum, that kind of thing. The throw lever on here, it is a little bit tight to work on this magnifier, but with the throw lever on there, it ain't gonna make a damn bit of difference. These come in two options. It comes with a Bdc reticle, bullet drop compensated. It also comes with the mil dot reticle. Now I decided to go with the Bdc reticle because I'm semi-retarded. If you've watched any of my other videos, I don't think you're gonna argue at that point with me. But I like it's designated for 5.56. So once it's zeroed in at the center, the crosshairs at 200, you got your drop compensator hash marks that are on there that'll range it right out to about 600. Now it does not have crosswind holdovers. I would prefer if it did, but hey, you know what? I suppose that's one of those things that I can live without. Overall, I'm very impressed with this thing. It is a fantastic scope. It's nice and clear. I mean, the picture on that thing, you know, it's like the glass isn't even there, man. It's very, very, very high quality glass. And the other point being the red dot. I say red dot, illuminated reticle, whatever you want to call it. It is very, very bright. I thought it was a little bit brighter than the Vortex, and that was definitely the other significant selling point for me on why I chose this one between the two. So I really wish that they had adopted a little bit more intricate Bdc reticle. You know, Primary Arms, I love their Bdc reticles. I mean, they got everything that you need on there, where you can range in two different ways, holdovers for every different range. I mean, it's a fantastic reticle that Primary Arms does, only when you're using it, it just doesn't seem that busy. So, but I guess I'm not doing a video on the Primary Arms one. I may do that at another time for some of my other PA scopes. But anyway, I highly recommend you get this if you're interested, and if your budget is about $500 to $600, this one or the Vortex is really going to be your only options. And the deciding factor is basically, I would say, range and whether or not you're going to be doing up close shooting versus a significant amount of long distance shooting. That's really the ultimate question: is what is your mission? So if your mission is short range, Steiner all day. If your mission is long range, I would suggest the Vortex. But anyway, that's really all I got on it. I tried to extend it out as much as I can and pack as much info as I can into these things, but I suppose there's only so much I can talk about. Anyway, if you have any questions on how this thing performs or any kind of specifications, what I think on any topic in particular, let me know in the comments, and I get back to you most certainly within a few hours. I check YouTube all the damn time because I have no life. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate it very much, and you have a good day.